You're listening to the Digital Deep Dive, where we tackle the newest trends, strategies, and pain points shaping growth across the digital landscape. From Amazon and D2C to international expansion, join our host and e-commerce leaders across multiple industries for in-depth discussions on how to maximize your brands in the digital arena. Now, here's your host, Aaron Conant.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Conant, and today we are going to dive into the new character limit that Amazon has put in place on titles. A lot of people just pinging me with questions on, hey, what's going on here? And I think they're exhausted with everything and the content updates that are needed and the constant need for them and SEO and LLMs and all this other fun stuff. We've had a lot of conversations on it. Today, we have on Christian Rich from Azoma, longtime friends, partners of the network, come highly recommended from a ton of different brands in it. As actually we just out at your the conference you did in New York a few weeks ago. And so super excited to have you on, Christian. But I'll pause there if you want to take just a couple seconds and, intro yourself, Azoma, that'd be cool. And then we can kind of get into the topic. Sound good?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me on, Aaron. And thanks for coming to New York. That was a really fun time. I think we had like close to how many people, like 100 people in the city, like right in the middle of like Knicks playoff season stuff, too. It's crazy to like get that many people in the middle of the week. And it was like a 4-hour window. So we really appreciated being there, and it was a lot of fun. So
that was a blast. Lauren Levac was there, right? Like she's awesome. She's dynamic on stage. She's just a rock star. I think actually, as a follow-up to this, a few weeks out, you guys have that 5 Cs that you kind of collaborated with her on, sitting down with Max and Lauren to record one of these podcasts as well around what's happening in the LLM search space and what do you have to be thinking about and all those steps. But we'll set aside that for now.
Yes, another day.
And if you like this title thing. Like help me understand the why behind it if you can. And then we can get into the what it is. And then we can get into, I have a lot of people wondering, hey, is this something we can ignore? I know they really know that the answer is no, but they're hoping that maybe somebody would say yes. So,
well, I think like, at least to kind of like, not to spoiler alert it, I think the answer can be yes. I think the question should be like, should it be yes? I think is what brands need to ask. Like, I think from the shopper standpoint, Aaron, and I know that a lot of brands listen to this. I'll be selfish for a second as a shopper. I think this is a good thing, and it leads into the why a little bit because like shorter characters, I think we need to back up for a second. At like 62% of volume on Amazon right now is on mobile. So like most of the people that are shopping on Amazon have shifted to their mobile phone to shop. And I think the heart of this change is really twofold. One, just really practically speaking, on mobile, a lot of the characters that we see in titles are getting cut off. So Amazon's just really simply just being like, look, we want everything that somebody sees when they're scrolling their phone, like we don't want there to be a cutoff on that. Like that just doesn't look visually appealing. So let's change that. 2, more and more people are starting to use Alexa for shopping for organic discovery. So Sensor Tower, friends of Azoma, Ian Simpson, and some of the guys over there have done some very recent studies, even as like late as Q1, that say that 60% of Amazon sessions are using Alexa for shopping. So as people are in that Alexa window, I don't know if you've opened it up on your phone recently, but even more so than the search bar, the titles that are in Alexa for shopping are like right at 75 characters. Like it's like literally like right at 75 characters. So I'm just like, practically speaking, that's why Amazon is doing this. They're trying to push people more to use Alexa for shopping for the organic discovery, which was the whole point of like stuffing keywords in your titles anyways, to like make sure that you're going to pop up organically. So Alexa for shopping is taking over that part of the Amazon experience. and to make that a cleaner look. Alexa is going to take care of all of the stuff that we're going to talk about, where some of these characters are going to go. Let's make that a clean visual experience for people that are using that, and Alexa's going to take care of the rest.
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, from a pure shopper standpoint, right? Because we've all seen just nonstop running of, a title, which is basically, like you said, it's just keyword stuffing. What's interesting, yeah, we did back in Shop Talk, we did a dinner with Danny over at MPG, and then Ian their tower, and some of the stuff that came out. It's mind blowing what's happening with the rate at which the LLMs are being adopted. Somewhat of which I believe it's almost being forced into it, right? In that app, Amazon can almost control that. Like right now, any search I do on Google on my phone, on mobile, automatically dumps me into an AI experience, right? And I have to back out if I want to actually get traditional Google. And all of these LLMs can actually control that. The Shopee one, Sparky, when you're opening up the app, they can force you into that. What was surprising for me is the rate at which I then adopted two things, just using it and trusting it, because it was basically just gave me an answer rather than a bunch of links to go through. The other one is the ease of putting in as much detail as possible so I get an accurate answer and I don't have to keep refining it over and over again. So it's kind of that they can control it, but I'm also finding myself actually starting to like it better than I did like a year ago or so.
Oh, totally. I think like this morning I lost my phone charger yesterday, or one of my many phone chargers.
Yeah,
The long cord one, and I was literally like on Amazon looking for a new charger and got to a product detail page, and it fed me the question that I had in my mind, which was, how long is this cord for this phone charger? Clicked on the question and it was only 5 feet. So it's like, okay, I've got to go like start back from the scratch with all this. So like, I think it's just becoming, to your point, more and more embedded in everything we do, which I think is at the heart of, back to the point of this podcast, like it's at the heart of the change, is just getting people to like kind of meeting shoppers where they're at. Now for brands, there's obviously going to be different kind of implications than, the benefits that we have as shoppers with some of this. So
yeah, but then you can't, if it is driving that much of search and brands, it's a tough thing. Like as brands are trying to understand what's going on, which is this balance, because if it is 60% of search, well, that means 40 is still in the traditional sense. Totally. And so they're trying to manage content as a whole. What do we do? How do we get this to resonate within the LLMs? How are we structuring the new text as a whole to answer the questions that people are putting into it, and then trying to use images from a conversion standpoint? It seems like this, if you look back a year and a half, people felt really good about where their content was on Amazon. We can always refresh images. We can always, go back and update bullet points, but people felt pretty good. And now people are back to being exhausted because there's this weird balance they're trying to take care of. And then there's this new character limit. And then do they have to do it? Do they not have to do it? But you're saying you don't have to, but you probably should.
Well, I guess the answer to that question is how much do you trust Amazon? Because what Amazon is going to do basically come here, I think it's like a week from now, whenever we post this podcast, is when the change is actually going to happen. Like Amazon is basically going to change your titles for you if you don't change them yourself. So if you trust Amazon to do that, which they're going to kind of use like their AI to do that. So if you want to trust Amazon, I think what they've said is they're going to start with like the best sellers, with it, and then kind of go from there. If you trust Amazon to do that, you can totally just be hands off and let them take care of it. Some of the brand people that I know that work for brands probably are not going to like take that approach, but maybe like what you could do if you want to be more hands off is like let Amazon do it and then see, like, I think there's maybe 14 days after that happens to like edit it and make changes. So you could kind of go with the approach of letting Amazon's AI, do that for you. Again, the people that I know that work for brands are probably not going to take that approach, but it is out there for you to do if you want to. So
yeah, there might be, the old 80-20 rule, right? I'm going to grab my top ones that I'm most concerned about, but the long tail of it all, just let Amazon go touch and run with. Then
Yeah.
what do people have to be thinking about? Like, how do they know how to rename it? Like, when you guys take a look at, like, what do you do to go rename like all of these ASINs? Update the title.
Well, I think the positive side of this is like a lot of the like crap that you've put in titles, like it's literally been like 200 characters of just like nonsense in some of these titles, or at least again from a shopper's perspective, it's just like, oh my gosh, like this is a really long title for something. I think you can like it kind of frees brands up to just like tell us what it is. Because what Amazon's doing now is introducing this item highlights that you can take some of that text. I think that's what people need to realize with this is like you're not having to abandon whatever was there that was working before. There's actually just a new section that you can put it in, which is called item highlights. So you'll basically take that text, put it into new structured content with the item highlights section that Amazon's going to give you access to. And then it really frees you up to like make that title something that I guess what I would do if I was a brand is look at it as what do shoppers want to see with this title? Like, what is the product? If somebody's in an Alexa tile experience shopping for something or prompting for something, what are they going to engage with most? And then, like, the rest of it goes in the item highlights, which is what Amazon is going to read in the background, kind of like they were doing in the title, anyways. So, that's what I would do is just make it something that actually is human appealing. And now you take kind of like the junk that was in there before and put that in a structured way that an agent is going to ultimately read. So
Interesting. So it's getting, I mean, I believe a lot of Amazon is a marketing channel as a whole. So then we're going to get back to, instead of that section could be more of the marketing to the human, right? Because what happened with all of that text was you have the images on this side to convert, but you were talking to an algorithm on the back end, right? And how
yeah,
could you keyword stuff and how could you put as much in there, not from a marketing standpoint, not marketing to people, but marketing to an algorithm.
right.
And what I'm hearing is you still have that. It's still getting put in this highlight section on the back end. It's still going to have all that to target the algorithm, but now we're getting back to a title that actually people would read and convert on.
Exactly. Because, I mean, think about how people, even not now, like think about a year from now, how this is probably going to look. Like, I think more and more people are getting conditioned. You mentioned Google AI mode earlier. Like it's a great example of kind of like how these companies, whether it be Amazon, Google, ChatGPT, Walmart with Sparky, we are being conditioned to search by prompts. Like I almost like catch myself now not even searching kind of like with a keyword mentality. Like I almost like even on Google will start doing the prompt thing like I do on ChatGPT because that's what we're being fed by Amazon. It's what we're being fed now by Walmart is like these questions on things instead of searching for keywords. So I think like if you think about 6 months from now, how that's going to look, like what are people going to do when they go to Amazon if they're not already engaging with the blue bubbles that are kind of like popping up in the experience? You're probably going to start searching like you search on ChatGPT, like you search on Google with AI mode. So with that, the algorithm is kind of being reframed in a way of how do we like structure our content? How do we take the information that was in those titles and start to craft it in a way that actually goes after the way that people search, which is more in a prompt form as opposed to just like quick little keywords like we're used to. So,
Yeah, it's also interesting. I totally agree. I'm changing the way I do almost all of my search now, phrasing it more as a question. Can you help me find something that does X, Y, Z? And what's very interesting is I think the more and more that first step of conversational commerce that I'm thinking about here, I'm having a conversation with an LLM back and forth, trying to get, whether it's Sparky or Rufus or whoever, to get to an answer. At some point in time, the next logical step is going to be making that purchase. And it's going to ask me then, would you like me to go buy that air filter for your 2020 Honda Odyssey? Or it's going to say, that's, if we keep going down this path, or it's going to say in a current state, would you like me to go buy that cabin inside air filter long-term Febreze, Honda, Toyota, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021? Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like, stop.
totally. Stop. Yeah. It's not good for the shopper. Like
Yeah, it's not. But I mean,
it's
that's where they want to take us. And so this is actually what I'm just following the study. You're saying is like, this is not only better, but this is the next thing, because when it starts making recommendations in a voice interactive mode, right? Because everybody talks about agentic shopping. It's not here yet. And a lot of it is because of that question. But if it asks me, do you want me to go buy this filter for XYZ car this year? I'm going to say yes.
yes.
But if it tries to give me the Subaru, I'm like, I don't even know what you just said. I don't know. Why did you say Toyota? I have a Honda. And
What you're saying is so like it's so spot on, because I think that the pain in the short term of this, of just like, oh my gosh, like I have to go change all of these listings, like the why behind it and kind of like what it's setting the foundation for is frictionless shopping, like a more frictionless shopping experience. You literally just outlined like we as shoppers want it to be easy. And at the end of the day, brands want to make it easy for us to, as we start talking about like Alexa filling our cart and checking out for us and doing recurring purchases for us. How does all of that happen? Well, making it easy on the shopper to get comfortable with that. And how do we do that? Well, like a really easy way is for, as this robot recommends something to me, like I gotta know what in the world it is. Like before I agree to do that and get comfortable with it, I think this is like the first of many steps like down the road of getting us to the point that like we're gonna be able to do that as a society. Like the way that titles work right now and the way that Alexa or Amazon surfaces those on my phone to me right now is not like a very clean experience to be able to do what you just outlined.
right, I was going to try to look up a listing because we've all seen it, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you have to order a part for anything. It's everything that's listed. I just need a new water filter for my refrigerator or something like that.
Yeah. I mean it's crazy. Like I think like I'm even looking at this 3-pack of good wipes. I want to give a shout out to those guys. Like there's these new brand descriptions on Amazon to where if I just search for like good wipes on Amazon, Alexa actually gives like a full description of good wipes before I even get to like any of the results, which is really cool. um, Kind of like a disruptive, like we talk about disruptive things to kind of like the SEO search experience. Like that's one for you right there. If I click into their listing, like it is good wipes, flushable wipes, unscented butt wipes for adults, septic safe, guest bathroom essentials for women and men, pH balance for sensitive skin, fragrance free, 153 count, 3 packs and 3 singles. Like, what in the world did I just read? like if I'm trying to like quickly scroll through something that has already been qualified for me, like that's the whole thing, Aaron, is like we are getting qualified across our Amazon experience now. Like when we come onto Amazon, we might already be qualified from what I've found on ChatGPT, and I just want to go buy it on Amazon. So like this whole thing now is about pre-qualification, which like the old way of titles was a way for us to kind of like as a brand make sure that we're like checking the box on like if somebody's going to put some keywords in the search bar that we're going to show up organically for that. But like we're getting qualified in different ways than we used to. By the time that we get to a product page, I may not even click on a product anymore. Like in the way that I used to, it may just take me there. So I think like with this, it's just, again, coming back to that cleaner experience for the shopper, letting them know just really briefly what the product is. I already have confidence that Amazon is kind of like getting me on the right journey to getting there.
So then, so how are we showing up now then? If keywords, well, they're not totally going away, but how I just explained to you, right? How I
Yeah.
is different. Therefore, keyword stuffing, okay, you can tuck it in this back end, like you're saying, these highlights, and it can still be there. but that's for the what's now going to be 40%, which then is
Right.
going to be 30%, and it's going to go 25 because at some point in time, Alexa for shopping is almost certainly going to make it into the search bar, right? Like right now on a desktop experience, a little off to the side.
Yeah.
We're just going to expect that to be in there. What is then? What does then search look like now for
Yeah.
for brands? Like when you guys look at it from a content side, what is the new? If the question isn't any longer like, what are the keywords I need to put in here to show up in search? What is the question that brands need to be thinking about when they're creating content?
I think there's two. So again, to your point, like I think it's well said, like we aren't abandoning anything here necessarily yet. Like I think it's one of those things to where Amazon is giving levers to be able to still utilize like things that you know are high volume from like a keyword standpoint, like your traditional kind of like SEO strategy now is just going from the title into a new spot. So we're not throwing that out the window. I think the more disruptive thing that brands have to kind of like grapple with that they're not used to, because at the end of the day, really, this is just taking something from one spot, putting it in another, maybe structuring it in a different way. Like, if you want to do that, it's really no different than it was in May of this year, other than making a title change. I think the big thing from like a search perspective that brands need to consider that actually is different is what Alexa for shopping is doing, like on the product page, which is, we're all familiar with this by now. It's asking category questions about your product. I'll use the example that I used earlier about the phone charger. How long is the cable? Well, like they didn't really answer that question for me really clearly on the page. So I have to ask Alexa that. It shows me different product results for what I actually want. That is the kind of like new game that brands really have to play that's like actually new, is what are the questions that Amazon is baiting people with in your category, whether that's on the product page, it's now in the search experience. When I search for a product in the search bar, blue bubbles pop up in that. Same thing on Sparky, by the way, on Walmart. It's that started last week on like the app. So I think that's what brands have to kind of think about from like a content standpoint, is like, how am I capturing what people are thinking about when they think about my category? Because that is what like Amazon is kind of like doing in a different way. Like over the past few months, like title changes is something that's like going to be an easy fix. Take it from your title, put it in your content. But really, like what I would want to know is like, is what I'm moving from my title into my content even really relevant to what people are wanting in my category anymore? That's the question that people have to ask, that ultimately is kind of like a question mark for a lot of people right now.
It's crazy because people are changing how they search drastically, right? Because it is then it's not just a keyword thing. It is.
Right.
I think of this scenario, right? Like I'm going to have a this is common one I keep going back to from frame of reference, just to be like a coffee pot, right? Like a coffee maker.
Yeah.
I would never search on, in the past I would have searched on coffee maker, right? Or new or best coffee maker or top rated coffee maker.
Yeah.
At this point, at no point in time would I put in lifetime guarantee or 10-year guarantee or anything like a warranty. I would never put that in there, but it would be impactful if it was like a lifetime warranty. And that then now has to be in an image. But what's fundamentally changing is then how we'd search for a coffee maker, which is coffee maker with a modern farmhouse feel. I prefer lighter colors like sage or whatever. Like I'm going to put
Yeah.
so much more into it so that it can go in and find and give me a more targeted experience.
And
Go ahead.
and when we do that, we now have confidence that like it's going to give us a good result, Like a year ago when we did that, it was like, I'm not going to search that specific for something because it's just going to give me trash. Like what you just said, you can totally find. Like it will show you exactly that,
Yeah, and I just want that experience to get easier and easier where I don't even actually want to type it in, right? I actually just want to talk back and forth and get to an answer. And that's
Yeah.
because I love mobile, but I hate typing. I hate texting. Like
Yeah.
I'm the worst at it, right? I don't respond to text. I just call people. So because I'd rather
You've
do
done
that
that with
than try to
me.
type on it.
We've done that
Yeah,
before.
right. I just have a conversation. I would literally just pick up the phone and call. So I just want to have this conversation back and forth. And then again, getting to the point, go back to the titles. Like at the end of the day, this is going to happen within the next 18 months. I do believe this, that it will start saying, do you just want me to buy? If you're in the voice mode, do you want me to just buy this for you? And this is the title. And I'll say, yes. I mean, we've even heard it, in the test they did on Alexa just for the home, right? Which was, it tries to give you an ad. Would you like me to get at 24 count, paper towel, long lasting soak subs, the keyword stuffing,
Yeah.
as opposed to, do you want me to order you the 18 count bounding paper towel? Yes, please. Yes, please. And keep moving forward with it.
So as we're talking about this, Aaron, like it just brought kind of like a thing to mind. I think that a lot of what you've seen in titles that you're going to end up putting in your content now because that's where it needs to go, according to Amazon. It kind of matches with a gap that I've seen with a lot of brands with their current content when we're thinking about kind of like this whole new search experience. A lot of brands have kind of used that content spot on the Amazon page to be very um, brand voice focused. For lack of a better term, it's almost like a lifestyle, a motive. It's very like marketing language of just like refresh, like if it's like a drink, refreshing, for a coffee maker, like whatever, put in whatever description that's kind of like emotional marketing feeling. That's what's typically gone on to Amazon pages. Where the shift is happening is now that content for agents to be able to read it, for when people are kind of like going back and forth from a prompt standpoint towards what you were just asking for, where's that grabbing from? Well, if it's not on your content page, it's on somebody else's product page, that person's going to get selected instead of you. So a lot of this information that, we kind of have that's more detail driven now needs to kind of be structured in a really clear way on the product page in kind of like a more detailed format than probably we're used to, because at the end of the day, by the time people get to your product page, they're more qualified now than they were before, to where they're going to go read every little detail on the product page. Like this is going to be something now to where if you get the product page right with those details, like that's what the agent is using to recommend you. I think that that's the big shift, is like a lot of that marketing language that we're used to, kind of like on even in your images, for instance, like needs to kind of shift to a more clear, structured perspective, kind of like we did with titles before, to where it's like, oh, we want to make sure that we like cover all the details in these titles. Now that's in the product page as opposed to that marketing language, so that it can get selected easier when you're asking Alexa to help me get XYZ.
I mean, you guys are just helping a ton of people in the network in this, in showing up in the LLMs, right? The content that's there. What
Yeah.
is there any like crazy new things that you see popping up? You guys just deal with so many people and across different categories, CPG. It could be, it doesn't just have to be retailer.com with a Rufus or Sparky, or, it can be ChatGPT or whoever. Like, is there something like crazy that's going on that you're seeing, or where do you see brands stubbing their toe the most right now?
I think that brands, you said maybe not channel focused. I think the craziest thing that I'm still seeing is on channels. Like, I think that a lot of because we work with a lot of CPG brands. Like at the end of the day, like a lot of people are covering kind of like, tech companies looking to be visible in Chat GPT and stuff like that. And that's great. Like we're really focused on CPG, brands that are very channel heavy. And I think the biggest thing that we've found in data that is both channel related and LLM related is that a lot of food brands on places like Walmart, Amazon, we are seeing in ChatGPT, 50% of citations in ChatGPT are actually coming from retailers in that category. So if you're a food brand that's listening to this, or even like a heavy CPG brand that's listening to this, odds are in ChatGPT, flip a coin, and the recommendation that's being kind of like listed out in that prompt is coming from a Walmart or Target or Kroger or one of those kind of retailers. So what that means is like your content on places like Walmart or Target actually matters for ChatGPT. Like it's a thing that is talking to each other. It's not like a siloed off, like, hey, we need to have a strategy for Walmart. You do. We need to have a strategy for ChatGPT. You do. But those two things can actually have like a halo impact on each other. It's really surprising to brands when they hear like, wait, so like what I'm doing on Walmart is actually impacting like what's happening on ChatGPT as well. All of these things are kind of like becoming more and more intertwined. Maybe Amazon will let down their walls eventually, and then that'll make it even crazier. But at least for now, like if you're on a Walmart, like a lot of the content that you are focused on there really has to kind of be suited in a way that ChatGPT might be looking for it as well. So
wow, that's crazy. I mean, it is a holistic approach. I think, I don't know. This is what I feel as we kind of get to the end here. I do feel like there is starting to be a method to the madness as AI starts to take hold. That, looking back, a year and a half and how far it's come, a couple things to remember. This is the worst it's ever going to be right now. But also that, I mean, companies didn't know how to react, and a lot of companies didn't know how effective it was going to be or how consumers are going to respond to it. And we're at a point now where I think we're starting to figure that out. And it's cool to actually have some structures in place and things that are making sense in the changes that we're doing. And you guys, I mean, you guys are awesome. You're doing a great part of it. Christian, how do people find you?
Well, one really easy way. The search bar on LinkedIn is still, there's no like Alexa on LinkedIn, so you have to go search Christian Rich on LinkedIn. But also just anybody on the Azoma team is also a great resource. Like if you check us out, azoma.ai, we have a lot of like case studies that are really brand focused on there, whether it's like ChatGPT, Alexa, Sparky with Walmart. We have a lot of really great work that we've done with some recognizable brands that you can go check out on there. And I'm happy to just hop on and chat anytime for anybody that wants to reach out to me. So,
yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Christian, for your time today. You guys are great friends, partners, supporters of the network. Everybody, I encourage you to reach out to Christian, the team at Azoma. They're doing some really great things for a lot of brands, the network as a whole. This is an area that I don't think that you can afford to ignore anymore. I think it's been a good waiting game to see how things shake out and get the right strategies in place. But I think now is the time that you have to engage and you have to be updating this content because the LLMs are taking off, I think, faster than originally what we thought. So anyways, with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Digital Deep Dive. Thanks, everybody, for listening in.